Pop quiz. What are the two most iconic rifles in the world? Well, the answer is, of course, the AR-15, a symbol of American ingenuity and Second Amendment freedom. And then, of course, the AK-47, a rugged workhorse with a legendary reputation for absolutely insane reliability. But which of these two rifles truly reigns supreme? And is one actually better than the other? Today, we're going to dive into the history behind these rifles. We're going to look at accuracy, ergonomics, the calibers, you name it, and we're going to settle this debate once and for all. Let's kick things off with a quick history lesson. The AR-15, developed in the mid to late 1950s by Eugene Stoner for Armalite, was designed for precision, lightweight operation, and modularity. The AR's military cousin, the M16, became the standard issue rifle for US forces during the Vietnam War and beyond. The AR-15's success in the civilian market can be attributed to its versatility, ease of use, and modern appeal. Quick side note, AR does not stand for assault rifle like the gun-grabbing tyrants want you to believe. It actually stands for Armalite rifle, since that's the company who originally developed it. Now, I know that you gun guys already know this, but the truth behind the origins of the AR's name just can't be reiterated enough. The AK-47, on the other hand, was born in the Soviet Union in 1947, courtesy of Mikhail Kalashnikov. Designed to be cheap, reliable, and easy to use, it became the rifle of choice for militaries and guerrilla forces worldwide. Its simplicity and legendary durability have made it one of the most produced rifles in history, with over 1 million units manufactured. When it comes to ergonomics, this is where the AR really does begin to shine, because all your controls are so simple and intuitive to use, and everything is easily accessible without really having to change your grip on the gun all that much. If you want to change your mag, you can just tap your mag release with your trigger finger, pop in a fresh mag, tap your bolt release on the left-hand side of the gun, and you're good to go. And of course, you can easily access that safety selector with your thumb right there. Got your charging handle on top. So yeah, in my opinion, there really aren't many other platforms on the market today that can match how simple and intuitive the controls are like you got on the AR-15. Now, the AK definitely has a more rugged and utilitarian feel to it than the AR-15 does. Like, you got your big reciprocating charging handle there on the right-hand side of the gun, big lever for your safety selector, and then a very robust design for your magazine release with the lever you have to depress, then you rock your magazine in and out. I will say overall though, when it comes to magazine changes, the AR is definitely easier and more intuitive than the AK, because on the AK, you got to hit that lever, then rock the magazine in and out. It's not to say that you can't do quick and efficient magazine changes on the AK, because you absolutely can do quick and efficient magazine changes on the AK. It just takes a little more practice and a little more training to get that technique down just right. Recoil is another big difference between these two rifles. The AR is traditionally chambered in 5.56, which is of course smaller than the AK's 7.62. So that's just naturally going to produce less recoil. Also on the AR, you got a nice big buffer spring back here in your stock, so that's going to help to absorb some of that energy as your bolt is cycling back and forth. All of this is going to combine to create a smoother overall experience when you're shooting an AR-15. Now, the AK's 7.62 round definitely does deliver more energy downrange than the AR's 5.56 does. But that also means that you're delivering more energy back into your shoulder, because the whole thing about for every action there's an equal and opposite reaction. Yeah, that. If you're sending more energy downrange, you're sending more energy back into your shoulder. Also, you got your big reciprocating charging handle right here on the AK, and you don't have a nice big buffer spring in your stock to help absorb some of the energy like you do on the AR-15. So that is a trade-off that you need to be willing to make. If you want to run an AK, you have to accept a little bit more recoil if you want to deliver more energy downrange. Let's talk about calibers, with this one caveat. I know that you can get ARs chambered in 7.62 by 39, and you can also get AKs chambered in 5.56. But for the purposes of this discussion, we're going to be talking about 5.56 fired from an AR-15 and 7.62 fired from an AK-47, since those were the calibers that these rifles were originally designed to be chambered in. Now the 5.56 by 45 is of course smaller, faster, and lighter than its 7.62 counterpart, which is going to help increase its accuracy and also give it a flatter trajectory as the round flies down range. Now, 5.56 also does have a tendency to begin tumbling once it enters into its target, which can increase its lethality despite its smaller size. Now the 7.62 by 39 is of course heavier and slower than 5.56, but this means that it's going to deliver more energy on target, especially at closer ranges. The increased mass with the 7.62 also means that it's going to be more resistant to obstacles like foliage and walls and what have you, because that higher mass is going to want to keep traveling in the direction that it's already traveling. Now, the downside to being heavier and slower means that as the range to the target increases, the round is going to have more of a tendency to begin dropping significantly faster than 5.56 does. Now, the choice of caliber ultimately depends on what you're wanting to do with it. If you're looking for a round that can be more accurate at longer distances, you're going to want to go with the AR's 5.56 because of its increased velocity and flatter trajectory as the round flies down range. If you're looking for something for more medium, close range applications where you might want to deliver more energy on target, the AK's 7.62 is definitely the way to go. When it comes to accuracy, it's generally accepted that ARs are usually going to be more accurate than AKs, because ARs are typically produced with tighter tolerances than AKs are. The reduced recoil on the AR also makes it easier to keep your sights aligned on target, and then the ballistic characteristics of 5.56, like we were just talking about, lend itself better to accuracy than the characteristics of 7.62. Now, I'm definitely not a skilled marksman by a long shot, all right? But I still had to do my own accuracy test for myself just to determine if either of these two rifles is actually better than the other. Now, the limited space I've got for my range meant that I could only test these rifles at a pretty short distance of just 30 yards. I shot 2 groups of 5 rounds with each rifle, changing out the targets each time and aiming dead center. Quick disclaimer, I was in fact using the iron sights on my AR. I was not using the red dot because irons are obviously all I've got on the AK, so I use the irons on the AR just to keep things as fair as possible. The results I got in my test was the AK pulled pretty consistently about 4 to 6 inches to the left, and then the AR had less deviation and was more accurate overall. Now, I completely admit that this test I did isn't exactly what you'd call scientific by any means, because there's so many variables at play when you're testing accuracy. Like, you got the skill of the shooter, you've got the quality of the rifle, quality of the ammunition, the weather, and I'm not talking about just the wind here, because even temperature, humidity, barometric pressure, all those things can play a role and affect the rifle's performance. So accuracy is a very subjective thing, and while it may be true that the AR might be slightly more accurate than the AK, none of this is to say that the AK is inaccurate, because it most definitely is not inaccurate. Like, you can still put rounds down range exactly where you want them any day of the week with an AK. When it comes to modifying and upgrading your rifle, in my opinion, the AR is king, because the amount of aftermarket parts and upgrades that are available for the AR platform is just ridiculous. And it's so easy to install all these mods and upgrades on your AR-15. Stocks are super easy to swap out, grips, you got your full-length Picatinny rail on top here that you can do whatever you want with. If you got an M-LOK rail system, that's amazing as well. Yeah, in my opinion, you just really can't beat the AR when it comes to the customization options and how easy it is to install those upgrades. Now, the AK isn't quite as versatile when it comes to aftermarket mods and upgrades as the AR is, but we have been seeing more of a surge lately here in the aftermarket world with support for the AK platform, which I'm super happy and super excited about, because we've been needing that for a long time. So if you're wanting to upgrade your AK, it's not impossible, but it is more difficult than the AR. For example, if I wanted to run a red dot on my AK, I would have to get a rail system that would attach on the left-hand side of the gun, and then I could mount my optic on top. And you compare that to my AR, all I had to do was throw the optic on top, because I've already got the Picatinny rail straight from the factory. So While it's not impossible to upgrade your AK, it's still more difficult than it is to upgrade an AR-15. Now here's the million-dollar question. Which of these two rifles is better? Is one actually superior to the other? Well, the AR really begins to excel when we're talking about accuracy, precision, ease of use, and intuitiveness. And the AK really begins to come into its element when we're talking about ruggedness, simplicity, reliability, and stopping power. But which one is better? Which one should you buy if you're looking to buy your first semi-automatic rifle? First, you need to determine what are your needs? What are you hoping to get out of your new rifle? And then take a look at the strengths that each rifle possesses and determine which one fits your needs the best. Be sure to let me know in the comment section down below which rifle you prefer, the AR or the AK. And if you enjoy this kind of content, be sure to check out this video where we compare the Glock 17 to the Glock 19 to determine which, if any, comes out on top.